How to evaluate an under construction property. I'm being asked so many times to evaluate a certain property under construction, and I understand that there is a gap there in the approach to such a property, to the approach to how would that property make sense or not make sense. Yesterday, Hassan on YouTube asked me about a property in Peninsula. So I wanted to take that as an example. It's a property in Business Bay, and I explain based on that example, how would you think of property purchase, specifically an off-plan property purchase. So let's go ahead, look at the specifics of this transaction and take rules out of this so that we can apply them on any purchase that we're doing off-plan. For those who don't know this property and this project, let me explain the project for you and then give you my view on it. The project is in Business Bay. Business Bay is all of this area, something like that, okay? And over here is downtown, and over here is Business Bay. Business Bay is cut through by the canal. And now, why did I say all of this area? Over here, it's Maidan, so I believe we need to cut it through here on Al Khair Road, because after that is Maidan, while those projects here, which are SLS and the Paramount by the MAC, sit within the Burj Khalifa district and the Business Bay area, to be more specific. Now, the property is with a good view. It's something to mention here. It's built by, or it's being built by, a very good developer, Select Group, and it's a trustworthy developer, consistent in their approach. Their previous buildings have consistent standards, and that's good with a developer. If you want to buy something off plan, usually you want to buy from such a developer. They have a long history in the market. Their projects are well funded. They rarely do have issues within the project, and in general they have a good reputation with their customers, and their customers are repeat clients. Now, this said, this property is in Business Bay. Business Bay is a tier 2 area, I would say. Now, why would I call it a tier 2 area? Because it's a great area. It's an amazing surrounding. It's on the right positioning on the map. It has in it multi-use buildings with commercial and residential, hotels. It's immediately beside downtown. So I would usually say third row in downtown is similar to Business Bay. That's my view, at least, to it. So, and that's when I'm talking to people who are trying to buy in downtown. I tell them, rather than buying third row in downtown, go buy Business Bay. It's the same, in a way or another. Now, the whole idea is, it's a good area, yet because when we want to look at tier 1 areas, the best of the areas, you look at downtown, and then within downtown there's categories of a location. A location, for example, which is similar to Address Fountain Views or the Address Downtown buildings. Those are the most key areas. They're rightly positioned, not only location-wise and proximity-wise from everything right, but also on the right side of downtown. And they overlook the fountain, they overlook the screen of Burj Khalifa, because people say, I want Burj Khalifa view. Not every view of Burj Khalifa is the same. There's different variables of a view of Burj Khalifa. So again, the Business Bay would be considered a tier 2 area. And if you are looking at a tier 2 area, you need to evaluate it as a tier 2 area. Now, the project, again, is developed by a good developer. It's meant to be a decent project. I believe it will be lovely when it's done. It's of good standard. Now, it's promised to be of good standard, but when it's Select Group or a similar developer, we know that the promise will probably be achieved, yeah? So it will be of good standard, and that's something we can take as a given. At the same time, the location in Business Bay is a good location. It's overlooking the canal and the peninsula, I would call. So it's a good location. The one bedroom that he's looking at is a canal view one bedroom. And he's offered that for 1,635,000 dirhams. Now, the first thing I've done is I've looked at comparables in the market. After I looked at the details of the property he's looking at, I looked at comparables, and I found variation of price between 1.1 and 1.8 or 2 million even. Now, the first question that comes to mind, what's the difference between the one for 1.1, 1.2? Although there may be fake listings there, but let's say 1.2 and the property that is 1.635 that he's offered, and mainly there's no major difference. So there is similar to the property he's offered at 1.6 at 1.3. Now, he's offered a property with a payment plan of 50-50, so there is probably the same payment plan on the other properties. Now, what I would do evaluating this property is look at it in a way that probably Hassan would not expect and many others would not expect. The first thing I do is evaluate what can I do with that money. Remember, I'm not evaluating here how good a property is for you to live in. I am evaluating how good a property is for me to invest in. Where would it give me the best prospects for the future and the best cash flow, and where would it work best for me? So questions that I ask myself: if I'm buying in this area, in Business Bay, in this area, a property for 1.6 million, what can I get for it? Can I get a downtown property here in Vida for 1.5 million? Yes, I can. Now, Vida is a good tower. It's a 4 stars development. It's managed. It's a decent location. I would argue it's a better location. It's not as good as of views whenever it comes to the one bedrooms, because the one bedrooms in Vida do not have the full view. So you can buy there for 1.5 million. Why would I pay here 1.6? Item number 1. Item number 2. I'm getting there a property that will cash flow today. So in general, if I'm getting a property that will cash flow today, and I know exactly what I'm getting there, and it's a similar area size of a property, then there's no sense buying an off-plan property rather than a ready property. Now, the advantage the Peninsula property that's offered to him has is that it has a view of the canal. The advantage that the Vida property has is location, which is the most important element in a property. And the second very important element is the quality of building it is, and it's ready. So it's a ready property. So my immediate view prior to me analyzing any further is, where would I rather spend my money? And that's a question I can't answer for you. You need to answer for yourself. I'm not emotional about property. Now, I am emotional about some elements of property in general, because I believe that specifically residential property, it's meant to be lived in. And when a property is meant to be lived in, you always need to consider the person who's gonna live in. So you need to like the property so that somebody like you would love it. And that's a major thing when I'm buying a property. Now, possibilities for Hassan. Hassan may be not eligible for a mortgage, so he can't buy a ready property because it doesn't offer a payment plan over there, for example. So if he evaluates both of those, he says, this is attainable for me, the other one is not. Yes, the other one is a perfect location. It's in the middle of downtown. It's walking distance from Dubai Mall. It's walking distance to Burj Khalifa. And by the way, this applies to everything. You can take a property to Marina and look at beachfront and Palm Jumeirah. You can look at any area. You can look at any country. You evaluate it in the same way, unless it's a property that's meant to be lived in, or unless there is a major difference in this property that gives you that much of advantage. For example, that property will rent at very, very high and the service charge will be very low. Now, this is not the case within that property. So I believe it will be cash flowing similar to what a Vida property would be cash flowing. And we don't need to stick to Vida. We can go to Downtown Views, for example, which is across the road over here. And Downtown Views, for example, does have one bedrooms currently at around 1.3 to 1.5. Actually, yesterday, a very good agent in the market, let me clean the board over here. A very good agent in the market offered me a downtown views 1 bedroom for 1.3, and actually offered it for 1.4, but they can close at 1.3. And I like that agent, and I'm gonna do a deal with him this month, hopefully. Yet I wanted it slightly lower. I wanted it probably at 1.2 to 1.25, just because that deal is so tight for me to make sense of in the short and the medium term. In the long term, it will probably make sense. So where would I spend my money? A Zabil overlooking property that is here. It's connected to Dubai Mall, overlooking Zabil, overlooking the IFC, seconds from downtown. Actually, it is downtown, or a secondary area over here that has a water view, and a water view has an advantage, while I'll not say the floor, but above 40th floor in downtown views will also see probably the creek, although from a distance. Where would I spend my money? And would I spend 1.6 million on a property that's not yet handed over, or I spend 1.2 million on a property that's handed over? I believe all of you guessed what I would answer. My situation may be different to yours. So how would that property sit within my portfolio is different than how it would sit within your portfolio. Although I believe we all buy property for few reasons, and those reasons are common amongst all of us. Now, some of us buy for first and second reasons, some of us buy for second and third, some of us buy for third alone. I wouldn't just live in it. To me, a property is like a car, for example. That's not what I'm saying. That's what some people say. They want to enjoy it, they want to live in it, and they want to have the memories, build the memories in it, and then they want to hold it forever, and it doesn't matter what is it earning for them or what it could earn for them. Now, because property is my business, this is not how I look at it. That is how you evaluate a property transaction in general. Now, before you do that, you definitely need to understand the specific building, and you need to understand it in depth, much more than what we've done now, but I'm sure that you can do that. Visit Select a Group and they will tell you all about it, or you talk to your broker and he will tell you all about it. Dig deeper into it, research it, understand the area, go step on the ground, look around you, look what's coming on your side, right hand side, left hand side. Are you in an area that is fully constructed and that's the last construction, or no, will you live in a construction site after your building is ready by a few years? All of those matter. As a summary, you would evaluate the property based on how much does it cash flow and how good does it cash flow. And you evaluate a property not only on how much does it cash flow and how good does it cash flow. If it's off plan, you evaluate it compared to other similar properties or other properties in the area or the surrounding. This is my understanding and my analysis to this off plan purchase. Hassan, I hope I helped you. I hope I'll help you all with this analysis. Remember, you will have your own journey, you will have your own views of the property, and time only will tell which view is right, and both of them may be right, because regardless of your view, if you're buying property, the right property, decent property from a good enough developer, and here we are looking at a good enough developer, we're doing a right choice. So ultimately, both of our views may be right in a way. Thank you for joining me on the brief today.